Oh yeah, that's right. Another Queen video. Zuma, 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 zuma. Excited Berry! Uh-huh, okay. Queen is so much fun. He is just one of those characters in One Piece. Frankie is another, most definitely, but there are a few that just the way Oda draws them and depicts their characters and the way they talk and their sense of humor and the running gags. With Queen, it's always the face faults that he has, right? It's just like, Master Queen, Big Mom is bursting into Udon. Yeah, whatever. Go on! Just his face faults. I could literally sit here and talk for like 25 minutes about Queen's preference of pie. I mean, like, he's such a fascinating character. What kind of pie do you think Queen likes? If Queen has his day off and he has no Oshiruko left, he's not really feeling the Oshiruko. I had Oshiruko the last 6 days in a row. I'm feeling pie today. Is he blueberry, cherry, strawberry, chocolate pie? That's the thing that he really likes, right? See, we're doing it already, Barry. We're already doing it, okay? So yeah, definitely one of the most interesting. And when it comes to the Beast Pirates, probably the funniest character on the Beast Pirates payroll right now. Last chapter, in chapter 1000, Oda showed just a little bit of a scene there with Marco kind of putting King and Queen in like a headlock, except with his wings. So it was like their heads were being locked, but it was with wings. So I don't know what the wrestling term for that is. But at any rate, Marco had, ensnared King and Queen. King was in his full Pteranodon form. Queen was in his full Brachiosaur form. And then Marco took Zoro and just tossed him through the roof. And so, to get to the battle with Kaido. And we didn't get the rest of that fight, but it really seemed like, they were in a pinch right there. Queen was kind of like, what is this guy? Is he invincible? How do we even fight back? King is wicked strong. So is Queen. I would assume King is stronger, though, and they couldn't break out. And Marco seemed to be pretty chill about it. Marco wasn't like, Zoro, I can barely hold them back with my mighty phoenix wings. You must go and slay the dragonfish, duck, whatever he is. Go, Zoro! And then flips and throws him through the skylight. No, Marco was pretty damn chill. He was like, yeah, can't you just let the poor guy go and fight the dragon duck? Cod, whatever he is. All right, Zoro, here we go. Flip, and that was it. So, there's a part of that scene, though, and I noticed it the first time reading, although I could see why you would, like, overlook it, because Oda loves to do that, especially when there's, like, chaos going on. There was a lot of this at Marineford, too. There's a lot of stuff going on, so Oda will show stuff in the background, and your brain might immediately think, like, oh, that's not really that important. Like, I remember at Marineford, one of the big things that I missed, and I didn't find out about this until, many years later after reading it multiple times, when Shanks shows up at the war, there's a scene in the background where Vista and Yasop from the Shanks crew are like looking at each other, like giving each other like the stink eye, like I hate you too. And there was someone else in the SBS that like noticed that and messaged Oda, like, does Vista and Yasop, do they have like a history together? And Oda's like, oh wow, you caught that. Yeah, there's something that happened in their past. They don't like each other very much. There was something that happened there between the two. So like Oda will do little things like that, right? So in chapter 1000, obviously the focus is Luffy and Zoro and Kid and Killer and Law all going up against Kaido and Big Mom. But in that one scene before we get there, we get a panel where you see Queen in his full Brachiosaur form having an extendo cyborg neck. Right? Also, something I just realized, I just read this, it's really cool, you're not gonna believe this, but it's totally legit, okay? It was chapter 997. Yeah, 997. Go back and read it. There's a scene where you have Robin there in the middle of the crowd with all of like the Isonis and stuff, and she's using her powers, right? There's one scene where you see Robin using armament hockey. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. She doesn't have armament hockey with her regular hands, but she's using her like fleur ability to have like arms come out, and there's two of the arms in the background that have the vulcanization that are like grabbing the Isonis or like pushing them back or whatever. Like she's using the hockey to protect her skin. That's 100% not true. But you went back and checked, didn't you? Because I do that kind of stuff sometimes. All right. But no, aside from, I'm sorry. That would be cool, though. That would be pretty cool if Robin had, like, armament hockey. That would be useful, right? All right. So Queen is a cyborg. Now, we kind of already assumed this because he does have a mechanical arm. I believe it's his right arm. I'm sorry if it's his left. He has an arm that's like clearly a mechanical device. You know, you could have thrown it out there like it could have been armor or it could have been like a really fancy glove, but I always assumed it was a cybernetic attachment, considering, you know, Frankie and other cyborgs in the series are a thing. There was even that cyborg Scotch that worked under Kaido. Scotch was the cyborg that was on that island that Drake arrived at, like one of the first islands Drake arrived at the New World. It was also the island where Caribou led that revolution. Yeah, that was Scotch. He was a cyborg. Okay, so cyborgs are on the Beast Pirates. It makes sense that Queen might have made Scotch or made the cybernetic modifications to Scotch, right? You know, that kind of thing, right? So he had the arm, but then when he went into his brachiosaur form in 999, this I'm not making up, he opens up his mouth and like gun barrels come out of his mouth in full brachiosaur form, and like instead of a tongue, he has like guns, and they fire at Marco. And then Marco just used his Phoenix powers to heal, but still, Queen had like guns. It's like, what? I mean, he has guns, of course. I mean, look at him, right? But then beyond that, he also had the extendo neck. So I'm thinking, okay. Queen is a full-on cyborg, okay? This has nothing to do with the fact he can turn into a brachiosaur, right? He made cybernetic modifications to himself. It might have been before or after he ate the fruit, but my point is, it's like he has the extendo neck in his brachiosaur form. He would also have that extendo neck in his regular human form. Like, that doesn't make any sense unless he ate the mythical zone model Megazord and turned into a robotic dinosaur. It makes no sense. So you can, you know, which came first here? Did he eat the fruit first, and then because he knew he could turn into a brachiosaur, he made those cybernetic modifications with that in mind? Or was it before he ate the fruit and he just like made the cyborg attachments anyway? Because having extendo limbs, like Queen might have a rocket punch. That arm, the mechanical arm, you know, he used to like attack Luffy and like throw him aside, that might be a rocket powered fist. We just don't know yet, right? Although I do find it rather hilarious because if that is true and he does have the regular extendo neck, on his brachiosaur form, it makes perfect sense because brachiosaurs have really long necks. And so it increases his range even more with that attachment. But imagine Queen being in his regular human form and having a cybernetic neck stretching out like, oh God! You know, oh God, it's like, because Queen, when he's in his normal form, his human form, he actually doesn't even really have a neck. It's just all one kind of thing, right? So that would be really weird, but I can't think of any logical reason why he would be able to do it in his brachiosaur form and not in his human form. Same deal with the gun barrels. Like, Queen should be able to open his mouth up, like maybe during a face fault or something, like, you know, Chopper shows up to fight against Queen, like, you know, you're the one that spread that virus, you affected even your own men, how could you do that, you're such a horrible person, you stand you stand for everything against the way of the Doctor, the way of Dr. Herolook. And, you know, Chopper pops a rumble ball, goes into his monster point about to fight Queen, Queen does a face fault, like, what, you're a giant monster reindeer, and then his mouth, like, drops, and then, like, a gun comes out and fires at Chopper. Like, that could be a thing. You explain to me why he couldn't do that, right? Okay, so then you start thinking about, there's more to this. Like Queen, he's been a member of Kaido's crew for a long time. We saw him back during the Oden flashback. I would also assume for that reason, he's had the power of the ancient dinosaur fruit, the brachiosaur, for quite some time. He's probably had it maybe since back in Oden. So yeah, like I said, I think the fruit came first and then he made the attachments, but he's been tinkering in Wano for a while, right? So Queen probably has way more than just the extendo limbs and the rocket-powered fist. So feel free to go ahead below and comment on all the crazy cybernetic attachments he's probably given himself, right? And this is Queen we're talking about. It's like Frankie. Frankie is fascinating as a character because not only is Frankie, yes, he's super intelligent and he can make all these cybernetic attachments to himself, but he's also super eccentric, right? And so when you add intelligence with that eccentricism, what eccentric personality, whatever, when you combine that together, you get Frankie. You get the giant arms, you get nipple lights, you know, you get all that crazy stuff with Frankie. So imagine all the crazy stuff that Queen could probably come up with, like rocket-powered fist, extendo limbs. that's just basic stuff. That's just like step one, right? Queen could take off his freaking overalls or whatever, and it's just like, you know, it's like Iron Man's arc reactor. It's giant like laser light cannon inside of his freaking chest cavity or something like that. Maybe his ponytail, because he has a long ponytail, maybe the ponytail spins really fast like a helicopter. You tell me, this is One Piece. That could totally be a thing, right? Okay, now, I'm gonna throw an idea out there because I took this to the next level, and there are so many things with this theory that it's like, well, that would have to be the case, and then that would have to be the case, and then that would have to be the case to arrive to the conclusion. There's a lot of hurdles to jump through. But if Oda did this, I think it would fit perfectly in line for Queen's character. I think it would serve as an amazing twist. And I think it would even call back to something that Queen said when Queen was doing the dance. You know, when Queen does his introductory dance, you know, the showtime, you know, Zuma, 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 excited, you know. There's a line in there, and it's kind of his catchphrase. He's just like, if I lost weight, I would just be too damn attractive, you know? That's the thing. It's like, you know, Queen is this big guy, you know, he's big boned. But he's like, well, I can't lose weight. I can't get thin because just everybody would just lose themselves over me, right? And Oda, in an SBS, even drew Queen what he would look like skinny. And so there's that. That's funny in and of itself, right? So I threw out the idea in the review, like, oh, well, maybe that's the reason, not necessarily because he's just fat, but that's the reason Queen is so bulky. It's because he has so much equipment attached to him that's just a necessity for how he looks, right? But he can, like, it's like, you know, like cannons and giant claws and stuff coming out of his arms. Maybe Queen will turn into a giant mechanical crab. I don't know. That's not my theory. I'm just always trying to, you know, fit the giant mechanical crab in there somewhere. All right. I'm just going to throw out my theory. You roll with it. You know, here's how it goes, okay? This Queen that we see right here, that is not his real body. That is a cybernetic shell. That is a robotic shell. That is the thing that he drives. Think of the God of Destruction from Universe 3, Moscow, I think his name was. He is a robot, but the actual God of Destruction is, like, inside of him, right? Okay, so we thought this was the God of Destruction, but he actually is, like, inside, okay? Think of that, where this is Queen's robotic shell of a body, and the actual Queen resembles more of, like, the skinny drawing that Oda did, and he's inside of that body controlling everything, right? And in addition to that, it wasn't the real Queen that consumed the Brachiosaur fruit, wasn't the one that ate the ancient dragon fruit model Brachiosaur. No, he fed the Brachiosaur fruit to the robot. So the robot shell is the one transforming into the Brachiosaur. The actual Queen is inside it all along, controlling it. Now, does this make any sense? Kind of. There's a lot of problems involved with this, not the least of which being, okay, if you have a... I mean, it really does bring up a question. If nothing else, that's what this brings up. Like, let's say, because you can feed at least zone fruits to inanimate objects, right? We've seen that already. We've seen that with Lasso, and we've seen that with Funkfried. You could definitely do that. We've seen that with the Tanuki in one of the video games that ate the pen fruit, or the pen that ate the Tanuki fruit. That's a thing. But what if you take a house and you use whatever method you have to use to feed the house the elephant fruit? Okay, so the house can turn into an elephant, and you walk inside the house, and then while you're inside the house turns into an elephant. Do you merge with the elephant? Do you get kicked out of the house? This raises questions that need to be answered, right? So there's questions involved there. But I'm just trying to take this to the next level. I'm like, okay, very clearly Oda is going down the line of Queen being a cyborg. We've already seen cyborgs. What's a way that Oda could spin it to make it even more interesting, right? And I think that would make sense for Queen. You know, that would be weird if it's like his actual body is like this very skinny, very weak, feeble kind of character using this giant robot body to strike a very imposing image. Like big dude, you know, a lot of muscle. It's muscle. It's absolutely muscle. Could turn into a giant dinosaur, right? But in reality, it's just this tiny little guy, like, you know, working the controls or whatever. Like Wizard of Oz, basically. yes, I understand there are a lot of hurdles with that. Yes, I understand there are some problems with that. But let's just ignore those for right now. If that was the reveal, does that not kind of fit in line with Queen? Can you not see that happening with Queen's character? It would be freaking hilarious. And if there was any, like, if it happened with any other character, maybe except for Frankie, I'd be like, no, that wouldn't make any sense. Like, if that happened with King or Jack or somebody, that wouldn't make any sense. But all right, let's shy away from that for a moment. We got some time left, so let's talk about, like, if let's just say he's an ordinary cyborg. Okay, cool. He's an ordinary cyborg. He's got similar stuff that Frankie has, maybe a little bit more advanced or a little bit different than the way Frankie does it, but he's got similar kind of equipment, okay? How's he gonna break out of Marco's head wing hold? I don't know. Because it seems like he couldn't do it. It seemed like King and Queen were struggling, and that's something that's really crazy because they both know hockey. Like, you know they have to, right? And so you know that King and Queen are probably using some kind of hockey to try to, like, break free of the lock. And it's not working, because that's like the first thing you would try, right? Plus, this is Marco the Phoenix. This is the, used to be the leader of the Whitebeard crew after Whitebeard died, and then when Whitebeard was still alive, he was the first division commander. Going up against this guy that you gotta bring it full power, right? And they really seemed like they were struggling there. Now, I do think, yeah, they're gonna figure out something, because they were like, is Marco invincible? Obviously, Marco's not invincible. It gives the impression he's invincible as long as he's in his form with the Phoenix. As long as he doesn't have Sea Prism cuffs on, or if you don't use hockey or anything, it seems like most attacks would just hit him and either pass through the flames, or even if they hit his body, it would just heal automatically, right? So I think they're gonna figure out some way to, like, break out. I don't think it's gonna be 2-on-1, though. I don't think it's gonna be Queen and King versus Marco. Maybe for a little while it'll go that way, but at the end of the day, Queen can't fly unless he has rocket boots or the helicopter hair ponytail thing. Unless that's a thing, Queen cannot fly. And so I think it's going to result in an airborne battle, probably still inside of the festival hall. Because remember, the festival hall is huge. It's like 5 stories tall. So you could have the Ice Oni and everything going on the floor with the festival stage. You could have Drake and Chopper and everybody in the Yakuza and Hyo having massive battles down there. And then cut to, a few stories up in the air. You could have this freaking airborne battle going on with Marco and King. And I think that would work perfectly because King's whole thing is the wildfire. Okay, and so he is constantly aflame, and he shoots. From what we understand, it's regular fire. And Marco has his Phoenix fire. Oda's made a point to mention that like Phoenix fire is kind of special. So I think it's gonna do that. I think they're gonna figure out some way to break out of Marco's hold, or Marco's gonna let them go. He's gonna fight King, and then Queen is either gonna fall back down to the live stage or go back to the balcony he was standing on. I think it would make more sense for him to fall down into the festival stage itself to kind of get a taste of his own medicine. So he lands there with, Chopper and the Minx are working on the antibody. Oh, I guess, also, I thought Marco was going to help him out with that, but considering he kind of did. He, mitigated the spread of the Ice Oni virus, but Marco's dealing with, probably King after this. He's not going to probably be able to help out Chopper, distribute the vaccine or the antibody or whatever. So, he's got the Minx helping him out, but it's not going to happen right away. So it would be great if, Queen lands on the stage and he gets, like, afflicted by the Ice Oni virus by one of his own men, and then Queen's like, get away from me! You're lucky I have the antibody! And he's a dumbass, and he gave it to a poo, and now Chopper has it, so he's like, dang it, now I have to use my antibody for... Where's my antibody? Put it in my other paw. Oh, no! And then he, like, freaks out, and he gets the freaking face fault, like, damn it, I threw it away! And so he's getting afflicted by it or whatever, and then Chopper comes out, and he's got the Yakuza with him backing him up. You got Drake there. I would have liked to see Drake fight Who's Who, and that still might happen. We might still see Drake go to fight alongside Jinbei, because it seems so far that Drake definitely has a beef with Who's Who and Queen, or at the very least, those are the 2 members on the crew that hate Drake the most, that know he's a double agent, that want to get rid of him, or want to eliminate him. Probably not everybody knows about Drake's betrayal yet. Like, I'm like, King knows and everything, because they're in the hall, they can see Drake. Kaido might not really even know yet, because he's up on the roof. It's kind of chaos right now, right? But at any rate, I could see Drake helping out Jinbei to fight Who's Who, but hey, Queen's right there in the hall, Drake's right there in the hall. I think Drake already kind of wanted to get rid of Queen, so we might have Chopper, the Yakuza, including Hyo, and then Drake, all going up against Queen at once, while they're also trying to distribute the vaccine. That I think that would be a cool. I mean, you'd have to balance a lot of stuff going on there, but I think Oda could definitely do it. Yeah, it would be a little. It would be a little difficult. It would be weird to do that, but the fight between like it starts with maybe Chopper and Drake, and like I know a lot of people look at Chopper and they like, oh man, Chopper taking on a calamity by himself. I don't know, and I thought Brook was gonna help him out, but Brook and Robin ran back into the castle, so I think they're gonna try to go through other fights with the Tobiropo. You know, maybe Brook will help out. Maybe Brook and Robin will both help out Sanji, or maybe they'll switch out. You know, maybe Brook will help out with Jinbei and Who's Who, and Robin will help out with Sanji. I don't know, but I don't think Robin and Brook are gonna be there with Chopper for that particular instance. But you know, even if you just got Drake and the Yakuza and Chopper working together, all fighting against Queen, I think that would work. You know, Queen was the leader of Udon, and the Yakuza were the former prisoners of Udon, so they have a grudge they would like to repay to Queen. Drake hates Queen, and Chopper hates him because of what he did with the virus. You know, he made a virus, like a biological weapon, and then just, you know, loaded it up in a freaking minigun and just, you know, like threw it all over the entire festival hall. Friend and foe alike. He has no respect for even his own crew, right? So it's like, you know, Chopper, Drake, and the Yakuza, they all have perfectly good reasons why they would want a piece of Queen, you know, on their mantle at the end of the day, right? Okay, definitely. So I think that's how it's going to go down. I'm not 100% sure on the whole Queen robot thing, but that would be some way you could do it, Oda. You know, that would definitely be a twist that not a lot of people would see coming, and I think it would fit perfectly fine for Queen's kind of comedic character. But at any rate, thanks for watching the video. This doesn't seem as long as my other ones, but I think that's just because I've been talking so damn fast. So maybe you might want to click the half speed for this one. I don't know. I feel like I've been just like really energetic this entire time. I did just eat some pizza. I had some pizza with pineapple on it. And as we all know, pineapple gives you a natural, makes you really hyper, I guess. Yeah, that's pineapple. So eat your pineapples, kids. Pineapple juice is the best juice. Confirmed. All right. Well, Barry, you got anything to add to this? Queen, Cyborg, Brachiosaur, Robot, anything? Okay, then. Have a good one, everybody. This will be Tekking and Barry signing out.